Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy, and we have a new edition, algorithms. There were so many algorithm things in the news this week that we had to do privacy and algorithm and just go ahead and drop security for this week. I'm not as good at security anyway. But anyway, that being said, these are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern at Standard Time. If you'd like to catch us wherever we happen to be in the wide, wide world of hashtag van life, and join us for the news. Well, we are starting out today talking about spoofing Microsoft Outlook contact. So what this has to do with is this is kind of a rehash of a issue that was dealt with back in the back about 2-3 years ago, where if you're using ASCII and Unicode characters together, you can get a URL that looks almost exactly the same, but it's technically is different. And then, so you can see here, if they're doing like Omni Microsoft, and then you use the non-ASCII key, you can look at the I there. I'm not sure if you can see the I in the figure here, but it's slightly different. It's not exactly an I. Now, to the untrained eye, it might look like it is, and so this is a really good way to phish and to spoof people. You look at the link in the email and go, okay, that does go to Microsoft. You click the link, and woo, it goes off to the spammy site, and now you are pwned. Well, it turns out that if you send people emails, spoofed emails from these ASCII code accounts using Outlook accounts, Microsoft will drop the non-ASCII codes, replace it with the ASCII codes, and actually return the information. So you can send somebody information from this non-ASCII code, and Microsoft will return it with the full contact information, basically suggesting that that person legitimately sent you the email. This is a major, major problem with spoofing. But the reason I included it in the privacy instead of security is, A, it was actually quite interesting, a take on something new. But at the same time as all of that, what else we saw is that this does demask people, and so if you happen to get a reply, you can find a way to find the actual contact information and other things Microsoft has about that person from a single point of source, which is quite terrifying. LAPD will now ask people that they stop for their Facebook and Twitter account information. They want to do large scale. They're feeding all this into Palantir. And of course, Palantir is that the giant conglomerate of stuff that's trying to do massive AI and demask everybody and everybody on the internet. And so what they're doing is, as they are stopping anybody, they're actually getting all of the information linking to social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc., anything that they can. Now, if you are in the LA area or in either police jurisdictions that do this, you do not have to give this information up. However, the problem that you might have is that if you don't, you might be considered an uncooperative witness or an uncooperative person, and some of these power-hungry police officers might actually try and start arresting you for failure to comply with a lawful order of a police officer. Understand this, though. The only thing a police officer can compel you to do when being stopped is to provide ID. You are not required to give anything else, especially when they're feeding all this data into Palantir to feed Palantir more and to give it more data. More data for the evilness. So anyway, that's what LAPD is up to. Now, they've been doing this for a while, but it just kind of came out with some information requests to figure out what in the world it's doing. And now they're being sued over the amount of data that was being collected and fed into Palantir. Well, we have ProPublica. Facebook undermines privacy protections for its 2 billion WhatsApp users. Of course, WhatsApp is end-to-end. Techlore actually just did a video, I don't know, yesterday or today, looking at different things. He speculated on this briefly, saying he's not commenting on it because there's not as much information out there. We actually do have more information, though. So what went on here is that WhatsApp, the messages themselves are end-to-end encrypted, and nobody can see it, allegedly even Facebook. Whether or not that's true, we can go ahead and speculate on that part. However, what happens is if an individual user flags a message, it takes that message and the 4 messages preceding that message and sends that unencrypted to Facebook. Facebook then takes that data, passes this down to real live moderators and to AI accounts in order to determine what is in the message that caused it to be flagged. So literally, if somebody wants to demask you, it would be possible for them to get on your list, basically grift their way into your life, and then flag all of your messages, or at least every 4 messages, and that would de-anonymize every message that you had with them. So this is something that could, in theory, be done. Now, the question is could that be flagged by somebody else? And this raises some serious concerns because while it is supposed to be end-to-end encrypted, once somebody flags something for wrongthink, then it completely demasks it, and nobody knew this was going on until we got some details. This is a very long article, and I read most of it, not all of it. But this is done through Content Moderation Associates, so that means that actual real people are getting a copy of your end-to-end encrypted messages to determine if there's something in there that's bad or wrongthink or against the policies, whatever else. And then once it gets out to there, it can be logged, stored, and whatever else. And so this is a serious problem for anybody thinking that WhatsApp is going to be a major, amazing, holy, encrypted, good, secure way. No, guys, it's a Facebook product. Stop using it. Go to something else. Go to Telegram or Signal or something else. That's just kind of crazy. And now on to the story most of you guys are probably here for. ProtonMail logged the IP address of a French activist after order by Swiss authorities. Now, is ProtonMail compromised? Probably not. Now, they will not act on anybody other than a local police request. In this case, the local police responded to a request from Interpol. So there was a French, was he a bootline? I forget exactly. Some dude in France was breaking the law in French police. French police were trying to demask the guy. He was using ProtonMail. They put through the request of Interpol. Interpol put the request down through the Swiss police. The Swiss police acted on it saying, yes, we need to demask who this person is. Now, what's important here is that the messages are end-to-end encrypted. So ProtonMail is not even technically capable of giving any law enforcement the actual text of the messages. What they were able to do, though, is determine the IP address of the individual, and utilizing the IP address, they were then able to de-anonymize the person. Now, ProtonMail did not act on Interpol's request, or Europol, I guess it was. What they acted on was the Swiss police accounts. And so that's really what happened, is that, yes, they were able to grab the IP address of the French activists while using the service. Now, the bigger criticism of this came out a couple days later. ProtonMail removed the part that says we do not keep any IP logs from its privacy policy. So this is the old privacy policy. Anonymous email, protect your privacy. No personal information is required to create or secure your account. By default, we do not keep any IP logs, which can be linked to your anonymous email account. Your privacy comes first. They changed that after this all happened. They changed it to this. Your data rule your rules. Protect your privacy. ProtonMail is email that respects privacy and puts people, not advertisers, first. Your data belongs to you, and our encryption ensures that we also provide an anonymous email gateway. Now, what they're doing with that, clicking on that anonymous email gateway, this goes to information on using ProtonMail through Tor. So in other words, they're basically saying, yeah, this kind of sucks. We were compelled to cooperate with the local police. We did the minimum amount that we could. No messages were handed over, but we did have to get somebody's IP address. Now they're redirecting people on how to use Tor. So I would honestly say, no, ProtonMail is not compromised. I would not be running away from it. Unless you're hosting your own email, I think that's better. But at the same time, ProtonMail is not compromised to the point where it's problematic. I would not be turning away from it, because what are your options? Google, Yahoo, Hotmail, Outlook. These are bad options. ProtonMail is still good. in this case, there was an actual criminal. I don't know if actual criminal. It was a French activist that the French police want to know who it was, and they cooperated with a series of police to figure out who that person happened to be. If that person had been accessing ProtonMail using Tor, it would have been the ProtonMail would have been unable to demask that person. So that's kind of why they changed this. So it is a little problematic. It is a little disconcerting, but just so you guys know, law enforcement will do what law enforcement is going to do. I would not jump off of ProtonMail over this, because what are you going to? Something else that complies with government requests a whole lot faster and has a whole lot more data? I don't think so. So with that, yeah, it does raise some eyebrows, but I don't think it's anything super bad. Well, with that, if you would like to help support the channel, we do use affiliates to help with that. They're not sponsors, they are affiliates. That means if you click the links and purchase the products, then that will actually help the channel as they provide a small kickback back. In this case, we're looking at Linode, tlm.li/Linode. You can use this link and get $100 in credit, good for 60 days. You can spin up as many Linodes. I personally am using Linode for Nextcloud, hosting clients on 2 different servers. I have a private VPN through it. Just a lot of other really cool things. You can also do just anything you want to do as relates to servers, websites, or things like that. So Linode is definitely good. I've been happy with Linode. So with that, guys, thanks for watching, and let's head on over to algorithms next. First up in our new algorithms section, automated hiring software is mistakenly rejecting millions of viable job candidates. So many more companies are starting to utilize the automated systems for hiring, and they're throwing off basic stuff, mostly because a lot of these HR people, they're incompetent buffoons. They're like, we're looking for a web developer, and then they list all these things that have nothing to do with web development. It's like, this is why I like watching like Joshua Fluke's channel, right? It's just hilarious to see some of the corporate nonsense going on there. This is an entry-level position. We require 5 years experience. What? Entry level, requiring 5 years experience. He was highlighting some jobs that are like 5 years experience required. Senior tech, you make more money working at the local fast food joint. Yeah, very exciting. But anyway, what's going on here is people are feeding job applications through an AI system to sort them out. And what they're finding is that the majority of applications from people who are very qualified for jobs are getting thrown out because of little tiny things like, if there was a small lapse in your work history, I mean, there could be very legitimate reasons for that. And if they don't show up, then you're like, oh, this guy's a bum, throw him out. Not necessarily. So I think as we have more automated software going through, let's see, where's that spot they were telling what it was? Over-reliance on software hiring would have created a vicious cycle. Digital technology was supposed to make it easier for companies to find suitable job candidates, but instead it contributed to a surfeit of applicants. I guess that means lower amount. I don't know. Surplus of applicants. In 2010, the average corporate job posting attracted 120 applicants, says the study. By the end of the first decade, this risen to 250 per job. Companies have responded by deploying brutally rigid filters in their automated filtering software that has had the effect of rejecting viable candidates, contributing to a large pool of job seekers. And so this is one of the problems we have in our current world. Well, that and the fact that the government keeps on giving handouts for people rather than anything else, And so I hate the use of algorithms for things that just pass-fail people, but that's the way our world's been built into. Pass-fail. This is what all the zero tolerance in schools is about. Pass-fail. Pass-fail means no brain allowed, no functionality allowed. That's kind of the problem that we start to see with deploying algorithms and things like this. Where's the spot? Let's see. They were telling us exactly what they were doing. I can't find the exact examples in here, but it was, one company said they rejected applicants for a retail clerk position if it did not list floor buffing as one of their skills, even when the candidates' resumes matched every other desired criteria. So it's like a giant crapshoot. Well, Facebook apologizes after its algorithm put primate labels on the videos about a black man. Keep seeing videos about primates? Yes, no. By the way, I had to go to RT News to get this. None of the US based firms in bed with Facebook had the gonads to actually put this picture up, but there it is. Oh, ouch! I keep seeing this prompt is unacceptable at Facebook, and despite the video being more than a year old, a friend got the prompt yesterday. Friends of Facebook, please escalate. This is egregious. This is the algorithm, guys. This is the algorithm. Well, at least the guy's not wearing a pink-haired gorilla seat throwing eggs at political candidates. But, you know, at least that you would have a legitimate thing to talk about primates. But this is what happens when algorithms go wrong. Another algorithm-esque type thing is Singapore is now using robots to detect bad behavior among the public. Xavier is rolling out 360 cameras. This kid's like, what's this thing going on here? You got all these people over here. Notice everyone's keeping their distance from this thing. I probably would as well. So Singapore turned the robots in a bid to deter lawbreakers in a city-state. But before you have visions of Robocop marching on the streets, come quietly, oh, that would be trouble. Know that these machines are less gun-wielding cyborg and more Wally. I love this part down here. Like this guy here, what's this? This guy's going to stand down with the robot. Bring it, robot, bring it. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. That's right. But down here at the bottom, we get some interesting stuff down here. Okay, so one of the things they're doing, rather than being on hand to prevent violent crime, Singapore is ranked as one of the safest countries in the world. They will now be on the lookout for undesirable social behaviors. These include flouting goofy safety measures, such as the congregation of more than 5 people, smoking in prohibited areas, improper parking of bicycles, and illegal hawking. The robots are equipped with 360-degree IR and low-light cameras to detect this antisocial behavior. It is now antisocial behavior to congregate in groups of 5 or more people. Let that settle into your mind, people. All right? You're in a congregation of more than 5 people. That's antisocial behavior. Clown world. Honk, honk. Oh, man. But yeah, this is what happens when algorithms go crazy. The robot is being trained in algorithms to detect different things. That's why it's included here. And in California, they advance a bill targeting Amazon labor algorithms. If you remember these labor algorithms in Amazon, the people were being measured on these algorithms, and then everybody is being basically measured by the curve, and then the lower end of the tail, you just fire them all, right? And so then the algorithm would go through and basically train people to become more like robots, and this would cause a more competitive job type situation, a bunch of other weird crap. And so right now, California, they just passed the bill this week. It was expected maybe next week. They kind of passed the bill this week, kind of saying, no, we don't need to put human workers in warehouses through algorithms to get them to work more like robots. That's kind of frightening. Well, if you guys like the new algorithm section, let me know in the comments down below. I don't always have a barrage of algorithm videos, but this week there were a lot. If you'd like to help support the channel, we do have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/switched-to-Linux. You can jump on over there and help support the channel. With that, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.